take a look at this stretch of water. From above, it doesn't look dangerous. The Caribbean is supposed to be calm, clear, inviting. The kind of place where divers drift weightlessly over coral reefs in warm blue water. But here, the ocean behaves differently. There are no warning buoys, no massive crashing waves, no obvious signs that anything is wrong. And yet, divers who enter this specific patch of water sometimes describe the same terrifying sensation. It feels like being trapped inside a giant washing machine. This is the story of one of the most dangerous dive sites in the Caribbean, known simply as the washing machine, off the tiny volcanic island of Saba. And this is Creepy Real Stories. Viewer discretion is advised.
Saba is barely 5 square miles. It rises sharply from the Caribbean Sea like a dark green pyramid, steep cliffs, no real beaches, and deep water surrounding almost the entire island. Beneath the surface, however, is something extraordinary. Saba sits on the edge of a submerged volcanic mountain system. The sea floor drops off dramatically. Coral-encrusted pinnacles rise from deep water toward the surface, like underwater skyscrapers. For experienced divers, it's paradise. But paradise in the ocean always comes with a condition. You are not in control. The dive site known as the washing machine is located along one of these submerged pinnacles. At first, it feels like a normal drift dive. Divers descend along the mooring line. Visibility is often stunning, sometimes over 100 feet. Sharks occasionally pass in the blue. Reef fish move in synchronized bursts. The coral formations are healthy and dense. Nothing feels wrong. And that's part of the problem. Because the danger here isn't something you can see, it's something you feel.
The Caribbean is influenced by powerful currents that wrap around islands and underwater seamounts. When those currents collide with the steep underwater topography around Saba, the water doesn't simply flow in one direction. It twists, it compresses, it accelerates. At the washing machine, horizontal current meets vertical surge. The water moves forward, backward, up, and down, sometimes all within seconds. And when conditions align just right, the water begins to rotate. Not in a gentle spiral, in a violent, disorienting churn. Divers who have experienced it describe the moment almost the same way. 1 second, you're neutrally buoyant, calmly observing the reef. The next, your body is yanked sideways, then downward, then upward. Your fins catch nothing but rushing water. Your sense of direction disappears. And suddenly, you're not swimming anymore. You're tumbling.
The reason it's called the washing machine isn't dramatic exaggeration. It's literal. Divers get spun in circles, sometimes multiple full rotations, while being pushed across sharp volcanic rock covered in coral. Masks can shift, regulators can loosen, cameras are ripped from hands. In most dive sites, if you encounter strong current, you swim against it or drift with it. Here, you can't, because the current doesn't choose a direction, it chooses chaos. What makes this site especially dangerous is that it's not always like that. On some days, the washing machine is calm, manageable, exhilarating even, which means divers enter believing they are prepared, but conditions can shift quickly. Saba's location exposes it to Atlantic swells, trade winds, and sudden weather changes. A mild surface breeze can translate to violent underwater surge. And once you're 60 to 80 feet down, there's no quick exit. You cannot simply swim straight up in panic. Rapid ascent risks decompression sickness. You cannot cling safely to delicate coral without destroying it or cutting yourself open. You are suspended in moving water, surrounded by rock, and you have limited air.
One experienced diver described the moment he realized he was in trouble. He had just rounded a section of reef when the water changed. It felt like stepping into a moving elevator shaft. His computer showed stable depth, but his body was being forced down. He kicked upward. The water pushed back. Then, suddenly, it reversed, and he shot upward several feet. His mask flooded. He reached to clear it, and in that second, the current spun him sideways. The reef rushed toward him. He tucked his arms to avoid smashing his regulator against rock. When the surge finally eased, he was disoriented, heart racing, breathing fast, which meant burning through air faster. That's another hidden danger. Panic underwater compounds everything. Fast breathing drains your tank. Drained air shortens your dive. Shortened dive can force rushed decisions. And rushed decisions underwater are rarely good ones.
There's also the physical risk. The reef at the washing machine is not smooth. It's volcanic stone layered with fire coral, sea fans, and sharp formations. A diver thrown against it can suffer deep lacerations. And unlike on land, even a small injury underwater becomes complicated. Blood in the water attracts predators, not necessarily in a frenzy, but enough to create another layer of stress. Because yes, sharks are often present. Caribbean reef sharks patrol the deeper blue. They are not the primary threat here, but imagine being disoriented, low on air, possibly injured, and seeing a shadow pass through limited visibility. Your brain doesn't stay calm. Perhaps the most dangerous part of the washing machine is psychological. Divers are trained to stay oriented, monitor depth, maintain buoyancy, control breathing. But this sight removes orientation entirely. Up doesn't feel like up. Down doesn't feel like down. Bubbles, normally your reference point, swirl sideways. And when your brain loses spatial awareness underwater, it triggers something primal: claustrophobia. Even though you're surrounded by open ocean.
Dive operators in Saba are well aware of the risk. The washing machine is not offered to beginners. It is typically reserved for advanced divers with strong drift experience. Briefings emphasize staying close to the reef, maintaining low profile, and avoiding mid-water exposure. But even with preparation, the ocean does not guarantee consistency. Some dives pass without incident. Others become stories divers retell for years. There have been injuries, lost equipment, near misses where divers were separated from their group and had to perform solo ascents in unpredictable current. And separation underwater is its own nightmare. If you lose sight of your group in calm water, you execute a search pattern. In rotating surge, that's nearly impossible. Within seconds, your buddy could be 30 feet away, hidden by rock or pushed to a different depth. And in strong current, chasing them can worsen the situation. So you make a choice: stay put and hope they find you, or ascend alone. The irony is that many divers list the washing machine as one of the most thrilling dives of their lives, not because it's beautiful, but because it reminds them violently that they are small. The ocean around Saba has carved cliffs, built reefs, and shaped currents for thousands of years. Human bodies in neoprene suits are temporary visitors, and sometimes the ocean reminds visitors of that hierarchy. There's a reason experienced dive guides monitor conditions carefully before agreeing to drop divers there. There's a reason briefings are serious.
Because once you descend, you are committing. The boat above cannot see the chaos below. From the surface, it still looks like paradise. The washing machine isn't the deadliest dive site in the world. It isn't the deepest. It doesn't hide shipwrecks filled with mystery. Its danger is simpler. It's unpredictable. And unpredictability underwater is what turns routine dives into emergencies. For those who surface safely, the story becomes something to brag about. For those who underestimate it, the lesson can be painful and occasionally tragic. If you made it this far, thank you for watching Creepy Real Stories. If there's another dive site, disaster, or location you'd like covered, you can submit it below. And until next time, respect the water, because it doesn't have to look dangerous to be deadly.